Hi everyone, VortexTCG here, and today I'm going to be starting my coverage on the brand new, reprint set, which has had its name changed quite a lot of times coming into the English release. I believe it's called Resurgence Booster 01 now, and this set has primarily a bunch of reprints for cards existing in the original set up to BT5, Battle of Omni, but there is also some brand new cards that are coming into this set that are exclusive to the TCG version, but also just exclusive in this set as a whole. There's a few archetypes in this set that do get its own support, mainly the Digimon from the anime Digimon Ghost game, and those are kind of like the star of the show, being Gamamon, Jellymon, and Angoramon. Today I'm going to be starting off with the deck that I'm most interested in going into Resurgence Booster Pack 1, which is going to be the Jellymon line. I think Jellymon is being one of the more interesting pieces of support because some of the stuff has already been playable in other decks, such as Jellyforce, if you remember that, using the tamer Kyoshiro, I think. Pronunciation's bad, but it's seen some play before, and I think the power level of this archetype can only get better, and we're going to be discussing all the cards that are in this archetype in Resurgence Booster 01. And if you're looking forward to the analysis of the set, please do like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be releasing the Gamamon and the Angoramon ones later on, and also just all the other cards, because there are other cards that are exclusive to this set that aren't really part of an archetype. So let's get straight into the Jellymon line. Let's talk about the level 2, the egg, first.
Yo-Yo-Mon is a level 2 Digi-Egg that has the ability, when attacking once per turn, by trashing one blue card in your hand, trash one Digi-Evolution card from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon.
So this egg might not seem very powerful on paper, but one of the things that I will say about this egg straight away is the fact that it is an enabler for the trash mechanic of this deck. You'll see it in like other pieces of support that have come out for this set, or this archetype even. Discarding cards have always been a key factor in this archetype, and for the most part there hasn't really been a good way to discard cards in this archetype other than like the level 5 Thetismon, which allows you to trash 2 if you have 8 or more cards in hand. So I think just having this simple enabler is going to be very important for this archetype, and the source strip isn't probably going to be very useful, but just having some sort of, stun-ish mechanic is going to be very important. I can see this, being very good against stuff like black decks that use Pagumon, so you can stop them getting searches, just for an example. So I think this will end up being either one of the best eggs, or you end up playing the Wanyamon for additional draw, but I think you're going to go for this one just due to the fact that it does enable the archetype a little bit more than just a simple draw one. Let's then talk about the Jellymon.
Jellymon is a level 3 that has the on-play ability, reveal 3 cards from the top of your deck, add a 1 card with Jellymon in its text and 1 Kyoshiro among them to your hand, and place the rest to the bottom of your deck in any order. It has an inheritable effect of your turn once per turn. When you trash a card in your hand using your own effect, gain 1 memory.
So Jellymon, I think this version of Jellymon is going to end up being the 4-of that you're going to be playing in your deck. The deck doesn't have much search in the first place other than just raw draw power, so having a search here is going to be very important. Also the fact that it is able to get a card with Jellymon in text is also very interesting, because I believe there are a couple option cards that mention Jellymon in text, but not in the name of the card, so you can add those as well. And also just the fact that you can add both a Jellymon and a Kyoshiro, sorry, I can't pronounce things, to your hand at the same time is going to be very important for this archetype. And also the inherited effect is, I think, criminally underrated. Just gaining additional memory from, essentially doing your game plan is going to be very important to keeping the turn on your side. So this is an automatic 4-of in the deck in my opinion, and there's also already a couple strong Jellymons in the format, so I think that's definitely a 4-of in the strategy. Let us talk about the Tesla Jellymon, which is the level 4 of the archetype.
Tesla Jellymon is a level 4 that has the when digivolving effect. If you don't have a Kyoshiro in play, you may play one from your hand without paying its memory cost. And then you also have the inheritable, your turn once per turn. When you trash a card in your hand using your own effect, gain 1 memory.
So if I'm being perfectly honest, there isn't really much to talk about this Tesla Jellymon. It's an automatic 4 in the deck just due to the fact that it can play the Tamer for free. And if your deck can play a Tamer for free, you tend to play it anyways because that is just so much value, especially as I believe the Tamer Kyoshiro also has versions that are 3 cost and 4 cost, so you're getting even more value for just digivolving on top of this. But after that, you're not really able to play another Tamer out with this effect after, because it's only if you don't have one in play. But the Inherited is very similar to the Jellymon here, where it still allows you to, if one of your cards is trashed from your hand, gain a memory. Still an amazing effect, and you definitely do play 4 of this card just so you can continue your turn. Also play out the Tamer for free and just keep momentum in your favour. Let's now talk about the level 5, which is going to be the Thetismon.
Thetismon is a level 5 Digimon with the when digivolving effect. You may trash up to 2 blue cards from your hand. For each card trashed by this effect, you may choose 1 Digi-Evolution card from under one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers and trash it. Then one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers with no Digi-Evolution cards can't be suspended until the end of your opponent's turn. It also has the inheritable effect, end of attack once per turn. By returning 3 cards with Jellymon in their card text from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order, unsuspend this Digimon.
Okay, so I'm a little bit iffy about this Thetismon. I think you'll end up playing it either way, but there are some things that I like about it and some things that I definitely don't like about it as much. So the effect that you're able to essentially stun a guy, or like can't be suspended even, until the next turn by trashing 2 of your blue cards, and one of the Digimon or Tamers without sources can't suspend. I think that effect is good. I think you'll see it a lot against stuff like Blue Flare, for example, because obviously they value cards underneath their Tamers. So just being able to remove them and then stunning the Tamer is going to be very impactful against that strategy. But in other strategies, maybe not so much. I think that the stun effect could, definitely help in situations, but I don't think it's as strong as it is. The main effect that you get from this, though, is the trashing of cards. Just allows you to enable yourself to do more trashing to gain that memory from the Tesla and the Jellymon, and also, just pretty good way to recycle your cards, because the inheritable of this card works well with the trashing effect itself, which is end of attack once per turn by returning 3 cards with Jellymon in their text from your trash to the bottom of the deck and suspend the Digimon. So previously this was in the main effect of a lot of cards, so there's a bit of an issue here, because obviously the other support that came up before it in like BT10, I believe, BT13, and I believe a little bit in BT8, I think it was, that the Jellymon came out originally. There's a bit of lack of consistency just due to the fact that there wasn't a level 6 at that point, but now there is a level 6, which we'll get into in a bit. But so all the unsuspending effects happened on the level 5 instead of the level 6. So it's interesting that it's now an inheritable effect, but I think it's still pretty good, good for a top end. So speaking of the top end, let's go into the level 6 right now.
Amphimon is a level 6 that has the when digivolving and when attacking ability of you may trash up to 2 blue cards from your hand. For each card trashed by this effect, you may choose 1 Digi-Evolution card under one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers and trash it. Then you may return one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digi-Evolution cards to the bottom of its owner's deck. It also has the all turns effect once per turn, when one of your blue Digimon in play would be deleted by returning 3 cards with Jellymon in their text from your trash to the bottom of your deck. Prevent that deletion.
So this is our first Amphimon that we have in the game, and for me, I'm a little bit iffy on it. I mean, it has a lot of power associated with it, which is obviously very good. It has both a when attacking and when digivolving is the main effect, so that's pretty nice. The fact that you're able to return Digimon is going to be very powerful to the bottom of the deck instead of to the hand, so even better disruption in most cases. We'll definitely end up seeing a lot of play obviously in this deck alone, but The all turns effect once per turn, preventing the deletion by returning 3 is also pretty nice as well, because again, just make sure that you're recycling, because when you think of like discarding a bunch of cards, it's usually like a negative, especially if you can't make that advantage back up essentially. So I think in this case actually just helps recycle, gets you into the grind game a lot more, and so I think this card is pretty good obviously. The one thing I don't like about it though is that it allows you to trash sources underneath your opponent's Digimon and Tamers, but you can only return a Digimon. I think if this was to be even more powerful, and I don't think it would actually be unbalanced, because I think the deck isn't as powerful, in my opinion, as other decks in this set, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think if it was able to return Tamers as well, I think it will be a lot more better, it would see a lot more play as well. So a bit disappointed in that, but overall I think this card is pretty good. You're obviously going to play 4 of it because there is a lack of Amphimons in the set alone. One of the cool things, however, that is happening with this set is the fact that we are getting some of the other cards associated with these archetypes. We don't have a full list yet, but from what we know, we're actually getting I believe the promo Amphimon as well, which we'll go over now as well.
Amphimon is a level 6 Digimon with the when Digivolving effect. You may trash up to 3 blue cards from your hand. For each card trashed by this effect, you may trash the bottom Digi-Evolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. Then, one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers with no Digi-Evolution cards can't suspend until the end of your opponent's turn. It also has the opponent's turn once per turn effect of when your opponent's Digimon attacks by returning 3 cards with Jellymon in their text from your trash to the bottom of the deck, end that attack.
So this again is a little bit more disruption at the top end. It allows you to trash up to 3 this time, and for every card that you trash, you get to trash a source from either a Digimon or a Tamer, and then one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers can't suspend until the end of your opponent's turn, which is still very strong. This was in the level 5 obviously, and then I think the most important thing is the opponent's turn once per turn. You get to return 3 cards with Jellymon in their text, which is going to be important because there's going to be cards that you play in this deck that aren't just Jellymon in name. You can return 3 of them to your trash to the bottom of your deck to prevent the attack. So there's very few cards that actually prevent attacks other than just blocking, so I think that's quite interesting, and the fact that we're getting this at the same time as the other Amphimon is going to be very important, because I think in Japan it was like a couple weeks or like months after you got these promos, so I think it will actually end up making a bit of an impact in our game. Will it be a lot of impact? Will it, you'll see this deck at Ultimate Cups or Regionals? Probably not, but it definitely does help the deck a lot. The final card that I want to discuss here is obviously the Tamer of the deck, which is Kyoshiro, and this Tamer is going to be very interesting. Let's talk about it right now.
Kyoshiro is a blue Tamer that costs 3, that has the effect all turns when your Digimon with Jellymon in its text or your opponent's level 5 or higher Digimon attacks. If you have 7 or less cards in your hand, by suspending this Tamer, draw 1. And then you also have a your turn effect. When this Tamer becomes unsuspended, gain 1 memory. It also has the normal security effect of play this card without paying its memory cost.
So what I like about this Tamer is that it's not just heavily relying on your effects, it also has an impact on what your opponent does as well, which is something that is very interesting. I don't think there's many decks that actually do that in regards to the Tamer, for example. I think stuff like the level or the free cost that, if you swing with a level 3 you lose like a memory, I think is the closest thing. But this one, if you're swinging with a Jellymon or opponent swinging with a level 5 or higher, get to draw 1, which is pretty nice. And then at the start, well, not at the start of your turn, but your turn, when this Tamer becomes unsuspended, gain a memory. So essentially you're punishing your opponent from swinging, and as we talked about in the previous Amphimon, you're able to essentially stop your attack, but you're able to use the Tamer first and then use the Amphimon to stop the attack, so you gain a draw, and then you also get the unsuspend, gain a memory at the start of the turn. So definitely a strong one, but my problem here is that there is already a lot of good Kyoshiro, sorry. In the format, there's the one that allows you to draw draw 1 when you swing up to 8, and there's also the promo one which also gives jamming. So unfortunately this slot is actually quite contested at the moment, but I think you'll end up playing this one anyways, because I think while it doesn't discard a card or anything like that, I think if it did discard a card, it would be so much better. But I think that the consistency that you get, the disruption that you also get, I think this might actually end up being one of the ones that you play at like 2 or 3. And then also play the set to 3-1 at like 2 or 3 as well. So that's how I feel about that card though. Let me know what you guys think as well in the comment section down below. Anyways, that has been all the cards that are related to Jellymon in this set. At the moment anyways, there might be some more stuff that they reveal later on, but from what we've seen in the Japanese set and the fact that we're getting the Amphimon promo, I think this is pretty much all the support we're getting, unless somehow Limited Pack 01 becomes in this set, but I doubt that. Overall, I think that the deck now has some legs to stand upon. I think one of the awkward things that was always a problem with these Ghost Game archetypes is the fact they never had a level 6. Lamortmon, Thetismon, and Kanoweismon were the top ends of the deck, and they weren't really good in my opinion. So the fact now that we've actually got decent support in the level 6, and overall like from the level 3 to the level 5 itself, and also the tamer, I think this deck definitely has some more legs to stand upon. I think that the strategy is very solid, and I think if you were to invest in a deck, I think it wouldn't be wrong to invest in this deck, if I'm being perfectly honest, because we already know there's going to be more support for this in the limited pack set, which was announced a couple months back, I believe now. I think if you were to play a decent blue deck, I think this is one that you probably want to pick up. But what do you guys think about the Jellymon deck as a whole, really? Do you think like there's missing some pieces, maybe some more discard so you can use your effects more often, or maybe you think that the deck is okay as it is right now? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching, and next video we'll talk about the Angoramon stuff, because I think that is going to be very interesting as well. See ya.